Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Never tell people what you do. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to explain it to you. And trust me, when I'm done, you'll understand. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I was struggling. I was broke. I was sleeping in my car, trying to figure it all out. At the time, I was doing comedy in small clubs, just trying to make a name for myself. Every time I told somebody I was a comedian, they look at me and say, "Oh, you a comedian, huh? You still doing that little comedy thing?" Little comedy thing? Man, I was out there grinding every night, but they didn't know what I was going through. They just saw the surface. And that's the problem with telling people what you do. They judge the surface and not the hustle. All right, let me break it down Steve Harvey style. Now listen to me, I'm about to tell you something that might sound a little crazy at first, but trust me, you're gonna get it. Never let people define you by what you do. Never. That's a trap, and I see so many folks fall for it. You out here working hard, grinding, trying to make something of yourself. But the second someone asks you, what do you do? And you tell them, I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, I'm a mechanic, you've just given them a label. And I'm telling you, labels are dangerous because when you tell people what you do, they stop seeing you as you. They only see the job. And that's not who you are, it's just what you do. I'm gonna tell you a story. Back in the day when I was struggling to get into comedy, I'd be telling people I was a comedian, and they look at me like I was crazy. "Oh, you tell jokes?" Yeah, I told jokes, but I wasn't just telling jokes. I was struggling. I was fighting for every stage I could get, fighting for every bit of recognition I could get. I was out there putting in the work. But all they saw was the title comedian, and they thought I was just out there telling a few funny stories. They didn't see the sleepless nights, the rejections, the hustle. They didn't see the fight in me. They just saw the title, and that's where they got it wrong. Let me tell you something. You are not what you do. What you do is a piece of you, but it's not the whole story. When people ask you what you do and you tell them, you give them the chance to put you in a box. You give them the chance to limit you. They say, "Oh, you're a lawyer, well, you must be all about rules." Or "You're a nurse, oh, you probably always taking care of people." They take one look at your job and they think they figured you out. But here's the truth. Nobody has figured you out, not until they've spent time understanding the real you, the person behind the title. And I know some of you might be sitting there thinking, "Steve, I'm proud of what I do. I've worked hard to get here." And I get that. I'm proud of the work you put in. But listen, just because you're proud of your job doesn't mean you should let it define your whole life. Let me explain. If you start identifying as just a lawyer, a teacher, a mechanic, then every decision you make is based on that title. Every move you make is to protect that image of yourself. You start living up to the expectations of what people think you should be based on that job title. And when you do that, you stop growing. You stop expanding your vision, because what happens is you start thinking that the only thing you're capable of is what's attached to your job title. But I'm here to tell you, you're capable of so much more than that. I don't care what job you have. You are not just a job. You are a person with dreams, with goals, with a vision that goes far beyond the role you're in right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of your work. You should be. But your work isn't your identity. Your identity is the way you show up every day. It's the way you treat people. It's the way you overcome adversity. It's the way you continue to grow, learn, and strive for greatness. Your job is just the vehicle that helps you get where you're going, but it's not who you are. You've got to remember that. When I started out in comedy, I was just trying to pay my bills. But I knew deep down I was more than just a comedian. I was a man with a dream, a man with ambition. And I didn't want anyone to reduce me to just a funny guy. No, I had something bigger inside of me, and you've got that too. No matter what your job is, you've got more to give. You've got more potential than just a title. So next time somebody asks you what you do, don't just throw out the job title and leave it at that. Tell them about the person you are. Tell them about the vision you're chasing. Tell them about the grind, the hustle, the work ethic you're putting in. Let them know that your job doesn't define you. You're so much more than that. The bottom line is this: never let people box you in with a job title. You are limitless. You are more than what you do. So keep working hard, keep chasing your dreams, and remember, the world doesn't get to define you. You define yourself. That's the power of not telling people what you do. You take control of your story. You take control of your life, and you take control of your future. And trust me, nobody can stop you when you're in control. Let me tell you something. The grind is where the real power lies. People look at the end result. They see the success, the money, the awards, the big houses, and they think it all came easy. But I'm here to tell you, it's not the result that matters. It's the grind. It's the hustle. It's the blood, sweat, and tears that you put in when nobody's watching. That's where the real value is. See, success doesn't happen overnight. People get caught up in thinking it's just going to happen one day, like they just going to wake up and everything will be perfect. Nah, that's not how it works. You've got to put in the work day after day. You've got to get up when you don't feel like it. You've got to keep pushing when everyone else is quitting. That's the grind. The grind is not glamorous. It's not pretty. It's dirty. It's long hours, sacrifices, and rejection. But let me tell you something. It's also where your character is built. It's where you figure out who you really are. I remember when I was just starting out in comedy, man, I was grinding. I was performing at small clubs, sometimes in front of just a few people. I wasn't getting paid much, and nobody knew my name, but I was working. I was out there grinding every night, pushing myself to get better, to perfect my craft. I wasn't looking for an easy way out. I wasn't waiting for someone to just hand me success. I was putting in the hours, and that's what matters. The grind is the foundation for everything you want to accomplish in life. And here's the thing, when you're grinding, it's not always going to look like progress. There will be times when it feels like nothing is working. You're putting in the effort, and the results aren't showing up the way you want them to. People will tell you to give up. They'll tell you it's not worth it. But listen to me, that's when the grind is really doing its job. That's when it's shaping you, teaching you how to keep going even when it looks like you're getting nowhere. You've got to trust that the grind is preparing you for something bigger. When I was starting out, there were days when I didn't think I'd make it. There were days when I wanted to quit, but I kept grinding. I kept working. I knew that the grind was doing something inside of me. It was teaching me resilience, patience, and the ability to handle failure. And let me tell you, failure is just part of the process. So in fact, it's one of the most important parts. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Failure doesn't mean you're done. Failure means you're learning. It means you're growing. When people look at successful folks, they think it's all luck. They think, oh, they got lucky. They were in the right place at the right time. But what they don't see is the grind behind the success. They don't see the sleepless nights, the hundreds of rejections, the moments when you feel like throwing in the towel. They don't see the struggle, but that's where the value is. The grind is the thing that sets you apart from everyone else. It's what makes the success sweet, because you know you earned it. And let me tell you something else. The grind isn't just about working hard. It's about working smart too. You've got to be strategic with your time. You've got to focus on what matters. There's no time for distractions when you're grinding. You can't afford to waste a single moment. Every decision you make should be about getting you closer to your goal. And sometimes that means saying no to things that seem fun or easy. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to stay focused. The grind doesn't stop. There's no finish line. Once you reach one goal, you got to set the next one. And when you reach that one, you got to set another, because the grind isn't about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the process. It's about becoming the person you need to be in order to handle the success that's coming your way. So listen to me. If you want to get where you're going, if you want to see the kind of success that lasts, you got to embrace the grind. Don't skip it. Don't try to cheat it. It's the only way to build something real. It's the only way to earn the kind of success that's going to last. Keep pushing, keep grinding, keep going, even when it's tough. Because trust me, the grind is doing more for you than you can see right now. And when it all comes together, you're going to look back and be thankful for every minute of it. The grind is where greatness is born. So don't rush it. Don't take shortcuts. Embrace it. It's the only path to success that's worth walking. Let me tell you something. If there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's this. You cannot let other people box you in. You just can't. When you let people define you based on a job title or a single thing that you do, you are giving away your power. You are telling them This is all I am. This is all I'm capable of. But I'm here to tell you, that's a lie. You are so much more than that. People love to put labels on you. They'll look at what you do for a living and they'll think that's all there is to you. They say, oh, you're a nurse? Well, you must just be about saving lives and nothing else. Or are you a lawyer? Well, you must only care about the law. They look at that job title and they think they've figured you out. But you're not a job title. You're a person with dreams, with vision, with a mind that can create and innovate in ways they can't even imagine, and you cannot let someone else's narrow view of who you are limit what you can become. I've been there. When I started out in comedy, people would look at me and say, oh, you a comedian? Well, that's nice, but what else do you do? Like comedy wasn't enough. Like it wasn't worthy of respect. But here's the thing. Nobody saw the hustle behind the scenes. They didn't see the long nights of working in small clubs for nothing. They didn't see the rejection, the struggle, and the persistence it took for me to get where I am today. All they saw was a comedian and they thought that was all I was, but I'm more than that, and you're more than that. You can't let people's perception of you stop you from going after what you want in life. You can't let them define you by a job title or a career. Your worth, your potential is so much bigger than that. You've got a future ahead of you that nobody can see yet. There are things inside of you, talents, ideas, dreams that you haven't even tapped into yet. You are capable of so much more than what people see on the surface. But if you let them put you in a box, you're going to miss out on all of it. I want you to really hear this. Your job doesn't define you. You define you. Your vision, your passion, your will to fight for your dreams, that's what defines you. And the moment you stop letting others define you, that's when you start unlocking your true potential. That's when you start showing the world who you really are. Think about it. How many people have you met who only see you for the title or the job you hold? They don't know your struggles. They don't know your sacrifices. They don't know your story. And I'll tell you right now, most of them won't care about your story. They'll just see what you do and assume that's all you are. But you are not your job. You are a person who has a future, who has dreams that are bigger than your current reality. And you don't need anyone to box you in and tell you otherwise. You got to be willing to break free from the limits people put on you. You got to be willing to say, you know what? I'm not just a title. I'm not just a job. I'm a person with vision, with ideas, with potential. And when you embrace that mindset, nothing can stop you. Don't let anyone reduce you to just a job description. You're a whole person with your own unique story, your own unique purpose, and you need to go out there and live it. Now, let me tell you something else. You got to be careful about what you allow to influence you. If you let the wrong people tell you who you are, you'll start believing it. If you let someone else's limited view of you dictate your actions, you'll be stuck in that box forever. You cannot afford to let that happen. You've got to be strong enough to define your own path, to refuse to be limited by other people's small minds. The real power comes when you stop letting people decide what you're capable of. You take control of that narrative. You don't wait for permission to be great. You don't wait for people to tell you that you're ready. You don't wait for anyone to put a stamp of approval on your dreams. You go out there and make it happen. You've got something special inside of you, and if you let people's expectations control your life, you'll never unlock it. You'll never reach the heights you were meant to. So stop letting people put you in a box. Stop letting them reduce you to a title. You are so much more than that. And it's time you started showing the world just how much more. Your journey is your own. Your story is your own. And nobody, not a single person has the right to define you. Only you have that power. And when you realize that, when you take control of your own narrative, that's when you start living life on your own terms. And trust me, nothing can stop you then. Let me tell you something. The best way to get people to see who you really are is through your actions, not through your title. I'm telling you right now, people are watching what you do, how you move, how you handle challenges, and how you treat others. That speaks louder than any job title ever will. Don't believe me? Let me break it down for you. You can walk into a room and tell people you're a CEO, a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever, that's fine. But here's the thing, that title isn't what's going to leave a lasting impression. It's how you carry yourself. It's the way you handle adversity, the way you show up when things aren't going your way. That's what people will remember about you. Because let me tell you, people aren't looking for the title. They're looking for the character. They're looking for integrity. They're looking for strength. They want to see if you can back up that title with action. You've heard the saying, talk is cheap. Well, that's the truth. It's easy to say you're something. It's easy to say I'm a lawyer or I'm an entrepreneur, but that doesn't mean anything unless you're out there living it. You got to show people that you're more than just a job title. You've got to prove it with your actions. And here's the thing. The moment you start acting like you're already the person you want to become, people will start to take notice. You won't have to tell them anything. They'll see it in you. They'll see your confidence, your work ethic, your passion, and that's what will define you, not the title. When I was first starting out in comedy, I didn't have any big titles. I didn't have a name. I wasn't known by anybody. But I knew one thing. I could work harder than anybody else. I could show up and give my best, even when I wasn't getting paid, even when nobody was watching. And you know what? That work ethic, the willingness to grind and put in the effort, that spoke louder than anything I could have ever said. People began to notice my commitment, my hustle. They saw that I was serious about what I was doing, and that's how I started to build my name. I wasn't out there talking about being a comedian. I was out there performing, working, and letting my actions speak for themselves. Here's the reality. People will forget your job title. They'll forget what you say you do, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. If you walk into a room and treat people with respect, if you show up on time, if you go the extra mile, if you handle problems with grace and humility, that's what they'll remember. They'll remember your character. That's what people really care about. And when it comes down to it, the only thing that matters is whether or not you can deliver. When you're out here chasing your dreams, whether you're an artist, an athlete, a business person, or whatever it is, it's not about how big your title is. It's about how much you're willing to put in. Are you willing to put in the work when nobody's watching? Are you willing to fight for what you want, even when it seems impossible? Are you willing to show up every single day, no matter how tough things get? It's easy to say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be that. But the real question is, are you putting in the work behind those words? And let me tell you, the work doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when you get the title, and it doesn't stop when you reach your first level of success. It's a continuous grind. It's a continuous effort to show up every single day and be the best version of yourself. Your actions have to back up the words you say. Now, I know it might be frustrating sometimes. You might be working hard, putting in the effort and not seeing the immediate results. But I need you to understand something. The results will come. They will. But only if you stay consistent. Only if you keep showing up. Only if you keep delivering on what you promise. And when you do that, when you let your actions speak for you, people will start to see the real you. They'll see your heart, your passion, your hustle, and they'll recognize that you're about more than just a title. You're about making an impact. You see, your actions are the reflection of who you truly are. It's not the title that defines you, it's what you do with it. And that's why you need to focus on showing up, giving your best, and letting your actions speak for themselves. Because when people see that kind of commitment, that kind of drive, that's when they'll really understand who you are. And that's the kind of legacy you want to leave behind. One built on actions, not words. And so forget about what people think you should be based on your job title. Forget about trying to live up to some idea they've created for you. Show them who you are through your actions. Let your work, your effort, your character, and your heart be what defines you. When you do that, you won't have to tell anyone what you do. They'll already know. Your actions will speak louder than anything you could ever say. And that, my friend, is how you truly define yourself. Now, I'm about to give you a powerful piece of advice that I've learned the hard way. Never, and I mean never, let anyone else's expectations stop you from reaching your potential. I don't care who they are, family, friends, coworkers, society, it doesn't matter. You cannot let what people think you should be or what they think you should do hold you back from what you're truly capable of. Listen, people will always have something to say. They will always have their opinions about who you should be, where you should go, and how you should get there. And for some reason, many of us take that to heart. We let their expectations shape our actions, and limit our vision. But let me tell you something. When you let other people's expectations control your life, you are living a life that's not you living someone else's dream, not your own. And that's a problem. That's a recipe for regret. You got to understand this. You are the only one who can decide your path. It doesn't matter if someone thinks you should be a lawyer when your heart is telling you to be an artist. It doesn't matter if they think you should take the safe route, get the steady job, and live life by the book. If that's not what feels right to you, then you have to follow your gut. You have to follow your heart. If you don't, you'll always feel like something's missing and you'll never be truly fulfilled. I tell you this, when I started out in comedy, people tried to box me in all the time. They told me, Steve, you need to get a regular job. You can't be out here just telling jokes. That's not practical. That's not going to make you money. You need to stop chasing this dream and do something real. Well, let me tell you something. They were wrong. I didn't listen to them. I knew deep down inside that I was meant to be on that stage. I knew that I had a gift and a purpose even when no one else believed in me, even when people tried to make me second guess myself. And I kept going, I kept pushing because I knew that my vision for my life was bigger than their expectations for me. And here's the thing, you got to make the decision to go after your dreams even when people don't understand it, even when it seems crazy, even when they tell you it's not practical. You have to make a choice to bet on yourself because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your choices. You're the one who has to live with the what ifs. And I don't want you to have to live with regret because you were too afraid to pursue your own dreams because of someone else's expectations. I know there's pressure. Society tells us to follow a certain path. They tell us we need to go to school, get the degree, find the stable job, and live a comfortable life. But I'm telling you, comfort is the killer of greatness. If you only do what's comfortable, if you only follow the path that everyone else expects you to take, you're never going to realize what you're truly capable of. Your dreams will remain just that, dream. And if you don't take the steps to make them real, you'll always wonder, what if? The thing about following your own path is it requires courage. You've got to have the courage to disappoint some people. You've got to have the courage to say, I'm not going to do what you think I should do. I'm going to do what feels right to me. It's not always easy, and there will be times when it feels lonely. But I promise you, if you stay true to yourself and pursue your passions, you will never regret it. And I want to make one thing clear. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm not telling you to throw all caution to the wind and just go after something without a plan. What I'm telling you is this: follow your heart, but also have the wisdom to plan, to prepare, and to put in the work. It's not about chasing a dream blindly. It's about chasing it with purpose, with strategy, and with the understanding that it will take time and effort to get there. When you start chasing your own dreams, you're going to have people who doubt you. You're going to have people who tell you it's not possible, that it's too risky. But here's the thing. Their fear doesn't belong to you. That's their fear, not yours. Don't let them project their doubts onto you. You got to believe in yourself even when no one else does. And that belief, that unwavering confidence in your vision is what's going to get you through the tough times. At the end of the day, you are the captain of your own ship. You are the one who decides where you're going. If you listen to everyone else, they will steer you off course and you'll end up somewhere you never wanted to be. So don't let anyone else's expectations hold you back. Go after your dreams with everything you've got. Pursue them with passion, with confidence, and with the belief that you can make them real. And when you do that, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. Now listen up. I need you to really hear me on this one. Don't be afraid to dream big. You've got to dream so big, it scares you a little. I'm talking about those dreams that make you think, man, how in the world am I going to do that? Because let me tell you something. If your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. For the longest time, I had these dreams in my heart, but I wasn't sure if I could actually make them happen. I'd sit there and think, how am I going to do this? How is this even possible? And guess what? I didn't have the answers right away, but I kept going. And you know why? Because I knew that my dreams were bigger than my fear. I knew that no matter how crazy or impossible it seemed, if I kept pushing forward, I would eventually get there. Now, here's what you need to understand. Big dreams are never easy. They're going to challenge you. They're going to make you stretch in ways you never thought possible. But that's exactly why you need them. Big dreams push you to become the person you're meant to be. They help you grow, they force you to get out of your comfort zone, and they open doors you didn't even know existed. But I know some of you are probably sitting there thinking, I don't know if I'm capable of achieving that kind of dream. You've got to let that self-doubt go. I've been there. I've had that little voice in my head saying, Steve, you're not good enough. You don't have the connections. You don't have the skills. But you know what? I didn't listen to that voice. I kept moving. I kept working, and I kept believing. When I was starting out, nobody knew who I was. I was just a guy trying to make people laugh, doing stand-up in little clubs, trying to figure out where I was headed. But I had a vision. I had a dream that was bigger than anything I had achieved at that time. And that dream pushed me to work harder, to stay up late, to wake up early, to keep going even when I didn't feel like it. Your dreams are going to push you to do the same thing. They're going to challenge you, and that's okay, because the only way you're going to achieve something extraordinary is by being willing to put in the extraordinary effort. I need you to stop worrying about whether or not you're ready for your dream. You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel like you have it all figured out. The truth is, nobody ever has it all figured out. We're all just figuring it out as we go. But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You just have to start. That's the key. Take the first step, then the next, and the next. Don't worry about the whole journey. Just focus on the step in front of you, because every single step you take gets you closer to where you want to be. And when you get knocked down, and you will get knocked down, trust me, you've got to get back up. I've had setbacks, I've had failures, I've had doors slammed in my face, but I'm still here. Why? Because I kept dreaming big and I kept pushing. That's what you got to do. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. Every time you rise, you become stronger. Every time you rise, you get closer to your dream. So don't let failure stop you. Use it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Let me tell you something. When you dream big, you're going to face challenges that you never saw coming. You're going to deal with obstacles that are going to test your faith and your commitment. But here's the thing. Those challenges are the proof that you're on the right track. If you weren't pushing towards something meaningful, if you weren't aiming high, there wouldn't be any resistance. You've got to understand that every struggle you go through is shaping you, preparing you for the big things that are coming. And trust me, big things are coming for you if you keep pushing. But here's where a lot of people get it wrong. They get scared of those challenges. They want to avoid the hard stuff. They think if it's this hard, it's not meant to be. But that's not true. Big dreams require big effort. And I'm here to tell you, you are capable of handling it. You've got everything inside you to make your dreams a reality. You just have to believe that, and you have to keep going. So I want you to take a moment and really think about your dreams. What do you want? What's that big, crazy dream that you've been too scared to pursue? Now, I need you to stop second-guessing yourself. Stop thinking you're not good enough. You are. Stop thinking you don't have what it takes. You do. It's time to go after it. Go after it with everything you got. Go after it with passion. Go after it with dedication. Go after it with everything in you, because your dreams matter. Your big dreams matter. And when you finally achieve them, it's going to feel better than you could ever imagine. So stop holding back. Dream big and make those dreams happen. The world is waiting for what you got to offer. You've got everything you need inside you. Now go out there and show the world just how big your dreams can really be.